Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Top 10 Show. I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost. I'm excited to be here. Another week of quarantine, another week of shows, another week of fun.
There you go. I like you putting a positive spin on it. So much going on in the world, so much craziness, but we keep coming back every week to give you what you need. Have we dropped the new show yet by the time they're listening to this, Matt Nost?
It dropped yesterday. The golden ticket dropped yesterday.
Can we hear that again? I just want to hear it one more time.
Go for it.
Thank you for being a fan. The golden ticket is your plan. You want a guest, now you've got to win it all. And it's our way of saying a big thank you to the patrons for playing. Boss Hogg and Tim Strong, fight to the death. You will be Top 10 presents the golden ticket.
I mean, it's my new favorite song, Matt.
Dude, tell me that doesn't. I sang along with it. I've heard enough times. Hopefully, it's our version of a Hamilton song, like the King song. It just worms its way into people's heads.
It certainly is. I can't stop playing it. Even when you're not on the StreamYard, I will play it to myself.
It's still
sometimes
good.
When I'm waiting, because Andy Merriweather just deserves all kind of love for creating that. And what inventive lyrics, fun lyrics, and fits the vibe of the show. And so a really great job by him to do that. And,
it is.
Make
it's
it all
a beautiful
happen.
Thing.
Yeah. And Matt, you deserve a lot of credit too, Matt. I mean, you organized this thing, you got it together, and you're leading the show when we do it. So it's great stuff. You deserve credit for this.
I wrote those lyrics, baby.
You wrote the lyrics?
Yeah, I wrote the lyrics.
I didn't know that. I thought Matt wrote the lyrics, or Andy wrote the lyrics.
No,
you wrote the lyrics.
He added 3 words to one line. I think it really helps.
Nice
with that one line.
Well, good stuff, Matt. Good stuff.
Yeah,
I'll write the lyrics.
Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a hooky little thing. It tells you what the show is.
Mm-hmm.
And I like his little auto tune. The Top 10 presents the golden ticket at the very end of it. It's a nice, soft lead in right into the show, which is bombastic, and we're in and out in like 25 to 30 minutes max.
Yeah. And we've recorded 4 of these episodes already, and they have each been barnstormers, pretty much, and really enjoyable watches for sure. And it's a great way for Matt and I to meet or reconnect with some of the fans that we've met before, and meet the fans we've never met before online. It's been great to see their reactions to seeing our faces and then going through this. And they've all been great contestants and great people to meet in our limited time doing these episodes.
It's been a ton of fun, and there's been so many people that have helped us out with it. And maybe at the end, like, we have a Star Wars like scroll, and we just list all the names or something like that.
Not a bad idea.
There's 20 some odd people that have helped put a lot of this together behind the scenes. So, blood, sweat, and tears went into this. You fuckers better like it. I'll tell you that much right now. Right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I don't think we have to intimidate them. I think they will like it, but yeah, sure, fine.
I will somehow, in COVID, I'll take a train and a boat to everybody's house across this great world of ours, beat you into submission if you don't like the golden ticket.
Yikes.
That's what I'm willing to do.
I appreciate that dedication. And
for the thug, man.
You are, that's for sure. A little Rutger Hauer action. Hobo with a shotgun. The other thing is that for those of you who are maybe potential patrons who are on the fence about it, this is the kind of stuff that every year or every couple of years we come up with something new and inventive, and it's spurred on by us wanting to do something else. I think it's this like idea. We'd felt the realist had kind of run its course, so we were kicking around ideas for something new, and the way it's come out has been great to see, and has been exciting, and it's been fun. I mean, COVID, in a way, has kind of been a fantastic thing for the show, because the questions have been fantastic on the topic Thunder, and really challenging, complex, interesting questions. And then this show has been one of the funnest things I've enjoyed doing with the show as an extension of our brand. It's been fun. And
look forward to many more weeks of Golden Ticket Week. That'll drop every Monday, and we'll have another, be recording a bunch. We had so many people sign up that the opening round is going to take, it's going to take a while. to get through. There's a lot just to even get through the first round of shows.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that messaged us that were, kind of in the mix.
Yeah.
Saying like, oh, does this mean I don't make it? It's like, everybody's making it.
Yeah.
This wasn't a random draw on top of, all this. We're not going to do that to you.
Right.
So, sit back, buckle up. There's going to be quite a few of these.
For sure. Well, that's for the golden ticket, and it's already dropped, as Matt said. It's on the channel. It's on the podcast, so you can enjoy. It's on the podcast stream, right? Or is it only for patrons on the podcast stream?
No, it's for everybody, just like the
cool.
relist was, but they are the only ones that get to participate in it. So, we've had 6 or 7 people opt out because they just don't have the time commitment, or a couple have said like, I think I'd rather just watch and be like, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Thank you for your support. It's awesome. So but it's a ton of people, wide cross section, and on those first 4 shows, we dotted the map as to where people were streaming in from. Yeah. So it's really cool to reach out and be like, oh, where are you from? Like, what part of the world?
Right.
Super
Great
interesting.
Stuff.
So it is.
Absolutely. But this show is the main show. And in this show this week, because there's no movies coming out, so we have to kind of come up with topics on the fly every week. And this week we decided we count down the top 10 90s summer comedies. We kicked around the idea of doing 80s and 90s summer comedies, but late last night, as we're recording this, Matt texted me and said, well, late for me in my schedule, Matt texted me and said, hey, there are already so many 80s comedies. Let's pick a decade. And then we agreed on the 90s. And so we're doing 90s summer comedies, and maybe down the road, some point, we'll do 80s summer comedies, but we're focusing on 90s. And there was more than I expected, Matt, for sure, but certainly enough to make 10.
Yes. But in the context of 80s versus 90s, 80s for me crushes 90s.
Yes. It's like 30 on the 80s for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the only reason to not do 80s and 90s, like there's too many choices, and it's going to be, for me, dominated by the 80s. So why not split it up so we can give love to more, movies across the board, and we'll do the 80s eventually too. Yeah, absolutely. Quarantine's not ending anytime soon for us. So maybe we'll start doing it on international releases. I don't know.
Who knows? Who can say? That's for sure.
I was just thinking Tenet.
You're right.
But
yes.
Yeah, we had to come up with something called 90s comedies. There's a few, but there aren't as many that have wormed themselves into 90s summer comedy. They had to be released for us. We both looked June through August.
Yeah, June through August.
So there's certain years where the best comedy came out in November. The best comedy, or the best 2 comedies, came out in February and December.
Right. And usually summer comedies are lighter fare, kind of turn your brain off, do whatever. But there are some actually pretty interesting and intelligent comedies that were dropped in the summer as well for people to enjoy, that I included on my list at least, to see, because they actually are legitimately ones that I love and actually enjoy watching and have a special. They did something extra special to be included on the list for sure. And I think I have 8 honorable mentions after that. So I was pretty surprised at how many there were.
I know there'll be one on your list that won't be on mine, and I need to see it again, type of thing. Okay. Now that I'm older.
Yeah.
But it's part of one very specific gentleman's canon, and I think this is your favorite of his canon.
Wow.
Or it's in the mix for top of his canon.
Okay. All right.
That's my guess.
I like that you think you know me. I like that you think you know me. You don't know shit, man.
I'm pretty sure. As you're staring at the list, realizing that I might have that dart might be pretty close to bullseye. Might be pretty close.
I'm changing it now because I know what you think I chose. No, I'm just joking. But I had to make a couple of rough cuts for me that I really, really thought were going to make the cut in the end. But I decided I just go back to these more, or there's something about them that I have a special affinity for. Yeah. And so I have to put them on the list. Yeah. So
there's some that I like, the perfect, one that won't make my list. I found it on Comedy Central, and then it was on Comedy Central for the next off and on 18 months. Yeah, and I ended up growing to like it. It's there's a lot of charm and whatnot. But the first time I watched it, I was like, meh.
Yeah.
But it didn't jump onto the list because I would rather watch any of these 10 before I watch that again. It's nothing against that.
Right.
There's only so much time.
That's right. Well, and speaking of which, why don't we jump into it? Are you ready?
Sure.
Yeah, tell them how the show works.
Once we set a topic, we go our individual ways to create personal top 10. Let's show back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade 1 apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the 2 of us.
Boom.
So 10, like a lot of weeks, you could tell me any of 8 or 10 movies type of thing.
Okay.
I chose Quick Change. The Bill Murray.
Yeah. I had a feeling a Bill Murray was going to creep onto your list. I know you too, man.
Yeah, but it's interchangeable with a lot of, if you want to tell me this other one is better, sure.
Yeah.
If this one is better, sure. Like it's a lot of choices. It's like, you know what? I like that one because it's so oddball and, it's a bank robbery heist film gone awry, but it's all by and large deadpan comedic, except for Quaid being the flame next to the powder keg.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it for those reasons. It was a quieter one. It's one I discovered years later. And I was like, I like that. And I check in with it every once and again. And it came out within that time frame. And considering there's a whole bunch to choose from there, I chose Quick Change at number 10.
Yeah. Isn't Gina Davis in that one?
She is in that one.
Yeah.
And the older gentleman.
What's he been in?
Oh, I know what he's been in. I'm trying to see if I can pull the name. I can always do the what's he been in. Shit. All right, fine. I can't. He was in Philadelphia as one of the elderly lawyers. He was the dad in Parenthood.
Jason Robards.
Jason Robards. I knew it was. I was like Robert. Damn. I was good doing the swimmy swami, but it's like I know it's R-O-B or P.
Right.
Is it Robert Roper? Yeah. Damn. Yeah, Jason Robards.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else is in it. I'm sure it's got.
And like I said, Quaid's in that thing, right? Randy Quaid.
Yeah, Randy
and
Quaid.
The big elephant for sure.
But
I remember watching it. It's a cute film. It's certainly one that doesn't get talked about enough in the Bill Murray lexicon of movies, but it certainly is one that is in no way one that you should ignore. I think it's for me personally, it's just as good as What About Bob, which I find to be irritating in a lot of ways for me. So
What About Bob is a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece.
What is happening? Yeah,
I'm not even kidding, dude. I sail. I'm a sailor, way far away from the dock. Oh, he kills me over and over again. Baby steps, baby steps to the elevator. Baby steps.
I'm cheering for Richard Dreyfuss in that movie. That's for sure.
Yeah, but that could be my favorite, or easily one of my favorite Richard Dreyfusses. I have to go through and look. That could be my favorite Richard Dreyfuss because it's just so note perfect.
Yeah, he is perfect in that role for sure. All right, what's your number 9, man?
My number 9 is surprised it ended up this low. There's Something About Mary.
That's my 10. Yeah, me too. I think it just doesn't hold up with rewatching, Matt. I tried to watch it again maybe 2 months ago, and I just kind of sat there with a bemused smile on my face and didn't really laugh that much because some of that humor now feels a bit, I don't know, out of date or insensitive. And not to be judgy of comedy, but like it just doesn't 100% work.
Yeah, it's shock comedy.
Yeah.
With is that Jim Beavers is the brother with a mental disability?
No.
It's who is it?
It's the other guy.
It's Deadwood.
It's Swearengen's right hand man.
Yeah.
It's Al.
No, Al is Al Swearingen.
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, it's his right hand man.
Yeah,
I forget the guy's name.
Oh man, what is that actor's name? It's not Jim Beavers.
That
John
one I can't.
Hawk is the other guy. I'm trying to think of the secondary.
Yeah, let me pull it real quick. I can't pull it in my head. Yeah, he's the doctor.
Jeffrey Jones.
Right, he's
obviously Oliphant and Ian McShane and
there he is. W. Earl Brown.
Damn it.
Please. Dan Doherty. Please, Dan.
Yeah. His character, I think, is unfortunately for me some of the best parts of it because he comes in and out so quickly. But there's no way in a million years you could do that now.
No. Plus, like you said, it's shock comedy. Oh, my dick is stuck in my zipper. Shock comedy. Oh, I've got a hook in my mouth. Shock comedy. Yeah, the spooge in the hair. Right.
The Matt Dillon big teeth.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the theater and like people were laughing and I thought it was amusing. And now watching it was like, I don't understand why that was supposed to get such a huge laugh. Like it's the easiest gimmicky horseshit.
Yeah. But I mean, there is still enough that works. The Brett Favre stuff is funny. The charm with him trying to get with her, the song that they keep singing throughout the whole movie, like all that stuff still works. The old lady with the dog, all of that still is
Like that works. There's a shock. Their chemistry is actually really sweet and sincere.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why the movie works. Yeah,
exactly. That's why you go back to watch it. Some of the comedy, like I'll still maybe laugh quietly to myself type of thing, but it doesn't make me gloriously. And I think in a few more years, it might be bumped off the list.
Oh. Yeah, maybe. I could see that. I was close to leaving it off the list, but I'm like, no, this one still has enough of a following, enough of a fan base, and I think it still deserves to be in the top 10 of a list for this kinds of comedy. So,
okay.
All right. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is basketball.
All right. That's all you, man. Go
Dude,
ahead.
I love me some basketball. It's the two of them. Their version of dumb humor is still at times very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is just crude stupid, and not all of it. I'm not 100% of like, it's not like every moment is perfect to me, but when it is, the thing fucking sings. The fight saying dude, and you can actually contextually as an audience member follow along and understand when he like offends him with the dude. He's like, dude, killed me. And the machinations of the game, like they're just drunkenly, they come up with it at a stupid party and try and impress these girls and take down these other guys, and how the psych outs are so stupid. They're great during the actual game once it gets to a league. I just, Jay McCarthy was well cast. How many times did you say that?
Yeah, not a lot. Jenny definitely did a good job in that film. That's for sure. Costas was in this thing too. A number of people. They got a number of people to be a part of this thing. And I don't like Orgasmo. I found that to be a bit too on the nose, but basketball is fun. It's fun. I don't consider it top 10 in my mind because for whatever, but like it's certainly a fun movie, and I enjoyed watching it when I went to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched it numerous times since. I agree that it's way better than Orgasmo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like Team America, I think is okay. I think it's
okay. I get what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay.
Whereas some people just love it.
Yeah. Some people love Dogma, and I've sat there going, duh, for 2 hours.
I think it's some of the better of his work. Okay. But it's still kind of like, meh, I don't really care.
Right. Everything you're talking about, I've heard somebody else say. There's nothing new being presented here.
I know. I love that after Team America, they swore off they'd never do anything with puppets just because it was such a tremendous pain in the ass to make that movie. And I love that on top of it. It makes me appreciate it just a little bit more. It's like stop motion, how they have to get things very specifically right.
Right.
Anyway, so basketball, I just think it's a lot of fun, and it was one of their earlier efforts outside of South Park that was successful, and I enjoyed so thoroughly South Park, and you could see that there were levels to this. It wasn't all just stupid, gross out humor.
Right.
And they've built that up over time too. Yeah. But anyway, so that's my 8. What do you got?
Cool. My number 10, as we said, is There Something About Mary. My number 9 is The Cable Guy.
That's wow. Okay, I figured Cable Guy would be higher. That was my.
No. I don't think it's his best of his ones, but I do love it, and I think because and I liked it when it first came out, and I think it's even more prescient nowadays with what it talks about, how the media and reality TV consuming our life. Lord knows we got a reality TV president, like all of that that they're talking about in the movie. The comedy has a whole nother level it's working on that I don't even know if Ben Stiller is a genius for having predicted this in some way, or he just kind of thought this was a fun way to go with it, never thinking it would actually come to fruition in our country. But I found it to be very interesting. I like Jim Carrey in the film. It's weird to see Matthew Broderick like playing the put upon guy, when I'll always have a hard time seeing Matthew in that light because of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He's so irreverent in that movie. To see him be like the put upon guy is kind of tough. Leslie Mann does a really great job with it. I mean, and Carrey is so strange in this movie. It's full on like nutty Jim Carrey. The stuff at wherever is the medieval place they go, medieval times that they go to is funny as hell with the Star Trek fighting and the songs. But like constantly throughout the movie, this is clearly a guy on the spectrum who does not understand how to make a human connection with somebody. So he goes overboard. And some people who are on the spectrum with him love how overboard he is, but other people who are a little more kind of in their thing, like Matthew Broderick, it overwhelms him, and so he can't necessarily deal with it. But he's got a sweet motivation Jim Carrey's character does throughout the movie. He just wants to be friends with this guy. He sees this guy of value to be friends with, even if this guy maybe doesn't want to be friends with him for a majority of the film. So I think it's very funny. I think the gags still work. I think the jokes still work. I think the weird situations they put themselves in still works. I mean, the putting the tit out against the wall is against the window is hilarious. And the way he's playing her against him is like really ruthlessly funny too. So I enjoy the film.
Yeah, I think I just need to re-see it, rewatch it.
Yeah. It's been a bit.
Yeah. It has been a bit.
Stiller's directed that thing. I always forget he directed that thing. All right, then my number 8 is Hot Shots.
That was a tough cut. There are other stupid movies like that I go back for first. That's it. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the. If you want to tell me that's better than Quick Change, sure. I'm not gonna fight you.
It's just I just like it on my. I like the movie. I think it's funny. Charlie Sheen doing what he did throughout, and I think it's Valeria. Who is it in the first one? I forget who is in the first one, but it's just so funny the way they're making fun of things. And look, some of these parody films don't really work for me 100%. But when they get it right, I enjoy them. And so I like this 1,000% for what it does. And John Cryer is hilarious in that Top Gun type vibe that he throws into the film as well. And everything it's parodying is brilliant. I think in this one is the one where like he passes his dad, Martin Sheen, on the boat. He's
That's
like,
a great
on
moment.
Wall Street. It's so great.
You too. And it's awesome. Dad got a payday to just to do this stupid boat scene. Why not? Why not?
Of course. It's perfect.
It's good to see, my son is working and
right.
He's doing fine. And it's good to see. I would say most of those spoof movies, eventually it became such a formula that they were, I didn't see any of them like Meet the Spartans and all that crap.
No.
I think I saw like the first 2 Scream parodies.
Right.
But I didn't see anything after that.
Oh, the scary movie ones, you mean? Yeah. I liked the scary movies. The first, I think I saw the first 3 or 4, and then I'm like, okay, I'm cool. I'm done here.
Yeah, never been my cup of tea. But Hot Shots is good. It's a very funny film.
Yeah, I think Lloyd Bridges in this is too, kind of reprising what he did in Airplane. So very funny to see him be a part of this. All right, what's your number 7, man?
That's one where he pulls the hanky between his ears.
Yes.
Going through his head.
Yes. All right, what's your number 7, man?
My 7 is The Mask.
Oh, that's my 6. Sweet. Okay.
Perfect timing. So Cable Guy I need to see again. The Mask I've always enjoyed, but when people hold it up to be one of his best, I'm kind of befuddled by that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. I don't disagree with you.
Is it enjoyable? Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a Tex Avery cartoon come to life, and it's really cool to see. And it pulls off the animation CGI still holds up. Last time I saw it, and Cameron Diaz is great. The dude is a villain. Is it Peter something or other?
Yeah.
Scalavelli.
Oh,
shit. What is?
Are you talking about the guy from Usual Suspects who plays Red?
He's got like a tiny part in that.
Yeah. He plays like the Indian Red or something like that. I forget what the guy's name is.
That's damn close. It is. Peter Riegert is from.
Yeah, Peter Riegert is Otter from Animal House. He's the cop chasing him down. And then
it is Peter Green.
Peter Green. Okay.
All right. I was close with the Peter. It's not bad for a guy whose name I don't really know. Yeah. The Mask is fun. It's a tremendous amount of fun. And considering, it was Jim Carrey's where it's like Dumb and Dumber came out in December and Ace Ventura came out in February and Ace Ventura 2, I think, came out in November. And all these years where it's just like, damn it. Another of my favorites just falls out of. So I got to put me some Jim Carrey on there somewhere because he just crushed Dumb and Dumber is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Yeah. And it's in this span. It doesn't get qualified. So I will put something of Jim Carrey just because the man deserves it in some capacity in my book.
Yeah, it's a sweet comedy. I mean, you've got he's Stanley Ipkiss. He's trying to do this thing in his life. He wants to be with the hot girl, but he doesn't have the guts to ask her out. And then he's being used by that reporter, the Amy Yasbeck, who I think married John Ritter. I think that's her. In the character that she's playing. And so he's a put upon guy, finds this mask, and then all of a sudden it's almost like the Nutty Professor type situation where he becomes like a really hyper sexualized, cool version of himself that he would always want to be. And he can do all kinds of crazy things like, make his body flexible. I think it totally takes advantage of Jim Carrey's ability to do comedy in the spur of the moment. That whole thing where he gets the Oscar and people start clapping from, it's just brilliant what he's able to do. But the whole foundation of the film is this guy just wanting to find his confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it a sweet film. And that's what really works with a lot of Jim Carrey's films is there's this sweet guy trying to figure out his world or figure out his life. Yeah. And when they get him right, they're really good. And I think this one definitely qualifies. But I agree with you. It's not in the top 5. I don't know. It's not in the top 3 of his best, but I think it's certainly one that merits us talking about on the show.
Yeah, I can think of 5 off the top of my head that I put of his over it. So definitely
it's an uneven film, but when he's on screen, it's fun to watch.
It is. But the rest of it with the police team trying to figure it out, it's like, I know he's gonna, but I don't know. The rest of it on the outside doesn't work, but once he turns into the mask and that conflict within him, that's when it's enjoyable. Yeah, not saying it's not enjoyable on the other side of it, but
this is a young, beautiful Cameron Diaz in the film as well.
Yes. What was this her first?
Yeah, her first film, I think. Yeah. So that was your 6.
That was my 7.
Your 7. What's your 6?
My 6 is the Full Monty.
Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, didn't make your list.
Nope, did not.
It made when we did our, what was this, 97, that random year, it made my list that year. It's like, I like the Full Monty. I laugh at it. It is enjoyable. It's very much like other British comedies of its kind. It's a ton of heart with jokes sprinkled in. And it's just an enjoyable movie overall. And what's not to like about that? We just talked about him like 2 weeks ago. So if I don't want to recover any ground. I did watch another Robert Carlyle for this just because I hadn't seen it in a few years. And I was like, you could call it a comedy, but I think that's a bridge too far for me.
Is it the one with Sam Jackson?
No. Although, what is that? Formula?
Yeah, 51 or something
51
like that.
Or something? Yeah. Something like that. I didn't see it in any of the years. Did it come out in the summer?
No, that's what I was asking. I didn't know which other Robert Carlyle film you watched for this one. So,
well, it's got Ewan McGregor. And it's got
you watched Trainspotting.
Johnny Lee Miller. Yeah.
That's not a comedy though. So
it's got some jokes.
It's got some jokes.
I know. And I also just kind of felt like watching Trainspotting when I saw it making the list. And I was like, I haven't seen that in forever. So I watched that.
It's a good film.
It is. It is.
Begbie. It's also a brutal film. My God, the stuff that with Kevin McKidd is just
the kid and then Damian Lewis. Doesn't it? Was it? No, it's not Damian Lewis. It's
that's what I'm saying. Kevin McKidd.
Okay.
Right. The guy from Rome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Rome, Topsy Turvy. I think he's on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. What they put him through.
What he goes through. Well, he jumps in on smack because his heart is broken, and he's the one that gets picked off. And then the cat on top of that, and just like Jesus, this ended so horribly for him.
Mm-hmm.
And all sadly kind of real.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately so. Full Monty, great stuff. Certainly very funny. I just kind of like these other ones a little bit better. Or I go back to them more than I do Full Monty.
Yeah, Full Monty is one of the British ones where I'm willing to watch that. Commitments.
Commitments is great. Yeah.
It is great. It's but anyway, so that's mine. What do you got?
Okay. My number 7 is Clueless.
Okay.
Is that on your list?
No.
All right. Well, I like this movie, and I think it has to be on the top 10 list, at least the top 10 list of mine. And for comedies, it's still one of these classic comedies, one of these things people come back to and enjoy. I think it's Alicia Silverstone's best work, and she's never done a better job ever since this movie, no matter what she claims in all her interviews. She's not that good of an actress. She's certainly good here. They found the right thing for her. Donald Faison was funny in this. Stacey Dash is actually funny in this. There's a number of actors throughout the movie and the situations.
Paul Rudd.
Breckenmeyer, Paul Rudd.
Breckenmeyer, not Brendan Meyer.
Apparently, Jeremy Sisto's in this thing. I totally forget that Jeremy Sisto's in this thing as well.
Really?
A young Jeremy Sisto, yeah.
Was he just one of the high school kids? Just
yeah, it's the guy that turns her down or breaks or like says tries to break up. Yeah,
okay.
that guy leaves her on the side of the road when she won't make out with him and stuff.
Basically, it's the same role Jeremy Sisto does in everything.
Just about everything until he got on Law and Order. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I think it deserves a conversation and merits being on top 10. And certainly, you know, it's a funny. It still works, and a lot of people review this movie. A lot of people go back to it.
I know, and I would assume the vast majority. It's just when it came out, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
And then the love for it over the years, it's always been one of those of, okay, you do and I don't.
Right.
I don't hate it. I just don't care. I'm indifferent towards it, I think.
Yeah. Apathy, son.
Yeah.
Apathy.
Sure.
All right. Well, my number 6 was The Mask. So I think this is our break time, Matt. What do we got to tell them?
Nothing. Just hang out for a second. If you're going to watch us, you're going to stare at us for, just a minute, and we're going to hear this quick word from our sponsors.
Boom. And we're back. There it is.
There we go. Easy
All right.
peasy Japanesey. That's probably something I shouldn't be saying. I don't know. I don't know. Don't even know. I think I got that from Shawshank. Did he say that? I think so.
And he talked about heroin too. All right, let's move on to our next thing. What's your number 5?
That's Thursday's show, my friend. Buckle up. It's gonna be a lot of talk.
Oh yeah. What's your number 5, man?
My 5 is one that is not going to be on your list for sure.
Okay.
Men at Work.
Oh my God, the Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez one?
Keith David, Dean Cameron. I love this movie. I flat out love this movie. I stumbled across it on cable. And first off, I like the brothers.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't particularly like the movies they put out, there's always a charm there. I've always enjoyed both those guys. So it's like, oh, they're teaming up. That's interesting. Who doesn't love Keith David? And the hook, line, and sinker was Dean.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because Summer School was one of the first comedies that I saw in the theater, like when I was a young kid, when it came out like 86, that I just loved. I was like, Summer School is awesome.
Yep.
So just to have those 4 guys, I stumbled upon it, and I have seen that thing so many times. I flat out love it. They're garbage men, and they stumble across a dead body, and then they're just trying to figure out what to do with this. They don't stumble across, but a dead body pops up into the world, and they've got to figure out what to do with this dead body. And it's a politician of this girl that Charlie Sheen is longing for, and like that's the relationship on that side, but it's not a healthy relationship by appearance. And what ensues over the course of a night, just them dealing with Dean Cameron is a pizza delivery driver. I can't remember what Keith David's job is. Was he trash man?
He's not one of the trash guys? I thought he was one of the trash guys.
No, I don't think so. Damn it. That's going to kill me. I got to look that up. But yeah, no one's going to have it on their list. And I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is not well regarded in the slightest. Slightest.
No. It's not one people revere at all.
I think it's one of those 30% critics and 40% fan. I'm like, wow, I'm part of the 40%, like distinct minority. I don't care, though. I think it's fantastic.
All right. That ended up being the question that helped Dan Murrow win the singles belt over Ben Bateman, but Ben didn't know the 2 actors in that movie with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, which kind of surprised me.
Which 2 actors led Men at Work, a movie about garbage men to find a dead body?
Yeah, and he didn't know the 2 actors, which really surprised me. So
that's an easy one, yeah.
I feel like it was. Yeah, it was one of those one-pointers because they went to sudden death about it. So I thought for sure he'd get it. But in the end, he did not. So that's a tough loss there for him. Anyway, all right. So that's your number 5.
That is my 5.
Okay. So then my 5 is Bowfinger.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I must have missed that. I don't even have it on my side list.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Bowfinger makes my list for sure. So go for it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is one of those. Once again, like I was saying earlier, there's some intelligent comedies that came out during the summer months rather, and this is certainly one of them. I mean, him and Steve, and this is Eddie when he's kind of like not sure where Eddie's going to do next. He'd had some terrible films like Vampire in Brooklyn and a couple other ones that really didn't do that well, like Distinguished Gentleman and stuff. And you're like, wow, Eddie's not really making a strong transition here. Is he going to get lost? And then Bowfinger comes out, and I was 100% Loving this movie. It's a great satire, not a spoof. It's a great satire of what it's like to be a filmmaker in Hollywood. And then, of course, Eddie Murphy playing two roles here and not doing the Nutty Professor thing or not doing the, that basically not putting on a fat suit like Norbit or anything like that. Mm-hmm. He's just doing two different characters. One is kind of a hyper realized version of himself as a paranoid superstar. And the other one is this like kind of nerdy guy who looks like the Eddie Murphy superstar. So Steve Martin is trying to use him in his movie after he couldn't convince the superstar Eddie Murphy to be in his movie. But then you see, some of the great moments, Matt. I mean, when Eddie Murphy is like counting how many K's there are in his script to prove the racism in Hollywood. I mean, that kind of shit is nutty, but also kind of now when you look at it a little bit like, well, maybe he wasn't as crazy as we thought, which I think is brilliant too.
That's right. So I made that number 6 on my list.
Okay. All right. Fair.
So I made so Quick Change got bumped off.
Okay.
It came out to no fanfare. And
absolutely none. Yeah.
The trailer looked so bad, I didn't see it in the theater.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm, just as much as you, diehard Eddie Murphy, but he had a string of just such, and this was another return to that. And I rented it after it came out, and I was like, this is good. And then I saw it again, and I was like, this is actually really good. And then the more you watch it, you see all the various little subtle jokes. And even now, like him going off the deep end, being the paranoid celebrity, we've seen celebrities go off the deep end and become ultra paranoid. And, look at for the high watermarks like Britney Spears or Martin Lawrence when he was running down the 405 between traffic.
In his underwear.
Yeah, in his underwear. Just, it can happen. There's all the eyes on you or whatever else, and you think there's some big conspiracy like Terrence Howard thinking that people are trying to stop him from releasing the new math that he's created. Like, I don't even understand the logic of what you're saying in the book of the mathematical, 1 + 1 = 3, and who's going to prove it? Good fucking luck. Good luck. So, the paranoid, the being just, you're in your own little echo chamber, such a tight knit, and you could lose your grip on just normal. Yeah, is my assumption from the outside looking in. But it's like I think so too. The Last Dance with Jordan, he was so isolated by the last three-peat. Yeah, that's a weird existence. You can hang out in your hotel room, but otherwise, if you go outside, you're going to be surrounded by 100 people on all sides. Yeah, it's strange, right? Yeah, strange. How did that not drive someone crazy? Yeah, agreed. So and all of it throughout, and Heather Graham is good in the movie as well. Mm-hmm. She was kind of like getting a little bit lost too. What were we going to put her in? She was really funny in the movie. I mean, that scene where he picks up the Mexican guys to work on his film. Normally that would be a racist and I have an issue with it, but the way he's using it as satire and they become actual filmmakers, I think that was fantastic and brilliant to use that in the film as well. So throughout, I just think, and Steve Martin, I don't usually like Steve Martin's written films. I don't like his films usually. They try to be too highbrow comedy. Yeah. This was a little more, and don't get it. And this is a little more kind of like, this is something he knows, and he knows how to satire it so very well. Because God knows who he bases the Eddie Murphy character on. God knows who he based some of those characters on that he's experienced in his numerous years in the business. It becomes a Spinal Tap type of thing where you're plucking the great stories you've heard over the previous 2 decades of being in Hollywood, and now you're putting them all into one kind of thing. Exactly. It off. Yeah, exactly. It's like a good Mel Brooks movie. Yeah, right. All right, what's your number 4, man? My number 4 is Austin Powers. The Spy Who Shagged Me? The second one? Wow. Okay. Oh, is that the second one? Yeah, the second one, bro. I just saw Austin Powers on the list. All right. Well, Austin Powers, Spy Who Shagged. It definitely doesn't make my 4. I apologize. No worries. So is Quick Change back on now? Are you moving everything back up, or are you going to take it out with something else? I don't know. Let me think about it, and we'll move on to your next one. Okay. My 4 is Kingpin. Okay, that's a punt. Okay, it's a punt. All right. What's your 3 then for now? My 3 is locked in, obviously, but is My Blue Heaven. It's another one I love. Oh my God. All right, go ahead, man. It comes if it's on right now, I'm watching. It's so over.
Just stop the show and go watch it. Yeah.
It's always had a soft spot in my heart. Steve Martin and Rick Moranis, Joan Cusack, those are the three primaries. And I love that it's so Steve Martin is playing Henry Hill from Goodfellas. This is the second half, technically, of the Henry Hill story.
Yeah.
And the two writers, I think, either knew each other or are dating or married, something like that, but they were writing it simultaneously, two completely different scripts about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the flip side, a ridiculous flip side of a movie that I absolutely love, but I didn't know that the first 20 times that I saw it.
Right.
And I've seen it a lot of times. The idea of Steve Martin as a gangster and doing this ridiculous New York accent, like arugula, and it's just trying to do this swagger charm, and it works for me. It really does.
All right.
Rick Moranis basically playing a straight man.
One of his last roles, I think, a little before he finally just kind of retired for a bit, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Right? Because it's around.
I'm trying to think what else came after this before he, recused himself from Hollywood.
Yeah. I don't like, I get why people enjoy. I just think Steve's being like ridiculous with like, and I know it's the Goodfellas connection and all of that. And who is it? Joan Cusack who plays his, who plays his, is that Moranis' wife or his wife?
No, it's Moranis's. She's like the assistant DA. Moranis is an FBI agent, and they meet, and he's, tries. In essence, he wants to date her. He wants to like go on a date with her and see her romantically. And she's divorced and she's got the two kids and she's trying to juggle all that plus the assistant. I think she's an assistant DA. Yeah. And she doesn't want to let him in and she's guarded about it. But they have like a nice chemistry. Now, Steve Martin meets a woman in the frozen food section at the grocery store. It's like, you shouldn't be here because you can melt all this stuff. And it's so terrible, and I just flat out love it. I think it's great.
All right. I'm not gonna go against you on this one. I get that a lot of people do love it. People do review
Mad
it.
and Men at Work were going to be my two standouts, but I was like, I'll watch those right now. Either one. Right now.
It's our list, so it's our personal list rather. So I totally get it. All right, so then my number 3 is South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Wow, Wikipedia fucked me over. I didn't see that either.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I went through year by year every month.
Yeah.
And just scrolled through.
So I want to make sure I'm correct too, man. I don't want to take something and if it's not the right thing. But yeah, it came out in June of 1999, June 30th.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes my list.
Does that take the number 4 spot? Is that take the 4 spot?
Over. I'll put that at 4. I got no problem with that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, this is one of my favorites, dude. I still will like go on YouTube and watch some scenes from the movie. I mean, the devil voice, Satan's voice is just brilliant. The whole thing.
Come on, guy.
Yeah. Saddam doing all that. Come on, Satan. Oh, Saddam, I don't like the way you're treating me.
Yeah.
I mean, all the interaction between them is the fucking foundation of the movie that makes me laugh every single time. The songs are brilliant, and you could tell that the Book of Mormon was certainly coming from what they were able to do from this show or this movie rather, right? And
Blame Canada, blame Canada.
It got nominated for an Oscar, for God's sakes. Yeah. I still remember Robin Williams doing that performance at the Oscars. That's how memorable it was.
The French resistance fighter who apparently had a failed abortion with him. They just slipped that in for no reason.
No reason. God, she is a beach.
Operation Black Shield.
Yeah, right. Where they're tying black soldiers to the tanks, which is, of course, their shot at the racism of Hollywood is brilliant.
They're strapped to tanks and fighter jets.
Yeah, fighter jets.
It just doesn't.
Chef's like, say what now?
Yeah, exactly. Wait a second. What is this?
All right, fall back. Just brilliant shit, man.
It is.
Just from beginning to end. And the Winona Ryder stuff I know was controversial at the time, but I think it still is funny as hell. And the Les Miserables influences of it all, with, like you just said, the Resistance piece is basically a 4-part harmony working in there. But also they keep the relationship between the 4 guys, and then the parents getting involved in it and all of it, and even making a comment about the violence versus the sexuality, that they had to. That the violence, they were okay leaving it at PG or whatever, but if they included any kind of cussing, that's what made it turn R. And so they kind of satirically poked fun at the MPAA for being like, oh, well, we can have all kinds of violence and blood, whatever, but we just can't say fuck. And it's just like, oh my God, wow, just smart.
It's basically mirroring the same uproar over Beavis and Butthead back in the day.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Like, this is ridiculous. These 2 dipshits. And it's Terrence and Phillip is the movie that they all want to see. Yeah. They fart in each other's faces, and that's the entire hook. And you know what? Honestly, something as simple as that, if it works to that degree. Just a stupid guttural, hey, Terrence, and then he just farts in his face apropos of nothing. And that's the only joke they have over and over. And you can distinctly tell a Canadian like to be bigoted towards Canadians because their heads move differently and they talk differently.
Come on, guy. Come on, guy.
It's just a weird.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, the chop.
Just the weird, they were like nutcrackers, but the full top of the head would separate when they would talk. And what's his name? Dan didn't like it because his adopted brother was Canadian. And start playing, that's a running joke.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that movie's good.
Still good. It still works. And like I said, I still go back and watch those scenes from the movie just to crack my shit up, man. It's great stuff. I mean, South Park ran its course, but those first few seasons are fucking gold. Just gold, man. The Redskins episode too, they did the last few years. That's one of the best. The Steven Spielberg and George Lucas one where they rape Indiana Jones throughout the episode. Brilliant. Apparently Spielberg was super pissed about it too. So that's you. If you get Steven pissed at you, you've done something really good.
Kanye's still talking about fish sticks.
Oh, that's right. Fish sticks.
Legitimately still talking about it. I think he brought it up last week. The dumb joke, and yet it had this.
About fish sticks.
Yeah. With Carlos Mencia, it was a weird episode, that one.
Yeah, it was.
I think I might bump South Park up to my number 1.
Wow, Jesus, what a jump!
Well, I think I put it in at 4 just to take out Austin Powers and make my list easier.
Yeah.
Maybe I skipped over 99 because there was that plus Bowfinger were both 99. Maybe I screwed up 99 that year or didn't see August. I don't know.
All right. All right. So then, what's your number 2, man?
Well, yeah, my former 2, number 3 is American Pie.
Okay.
Not on your list?
Nah, man. Doesn't hold up for me, man. Go ahead.
Okay. At the time, I loved it in the theater.
Yeah, me too.
And I believe I saw a second time in the theater. It had been a while where a comedy was just that joke for joke, for me at least.
Yeah.
And I mean, we still have Jason Biggs to this day. That's really about what's her name? Came back with Russian Doll.
Natasha Lyonne. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that other guy worked for years on Scorpion, that CBS series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the dude that seduces Stifler's mom. He worked for years on that series. Yeah.
Chris Klein had a good run.
He did a little bit. Yeah. Sean William Scott's still around every once in a while.
That's a weird one that I thought he would be around for a long time. Because he just had a general likability.
He did. Tara Reid's off the deep end.
Yeah. Jason Biggs, obviously.
Yeah.
And then what's her name that gets topless?
Oh, Shannon Alexander.
There you go. Yeah. Nice pull. Haven't seen her in forever.
No, she hasn't done much either. And Thomas Ian Nicholas, who competed for a year in the Schmodown as well. Thomas, he was a really nice guy. He's Rookie of the Year, the film he's in, I think. He's got that crazy arm of his. But yeah, he's in this is, of course, Tara Reid's guy. And so, yeah, I mean, the film is very sweet, man. And I really struggled. I was like, I just don't put it on anymore. I actually like American Wedding better than American Pie now. And that's maybe because I just got older. I just got older, and so when I go back and watch it, it's a sweet film, and I would never begrudge anybody putting this on their top 10 or top 3 or whatever. It's just for me, for whatever reason, when I go back and watch it now, it feels just kind of dated a little bit and easy with the jokes. But there's such a sweetness to it, though, Matt. Like Eugene Levy is such a great dad. He's such a great dad in that movie, man.
And I think it rates so highly because out of nowhere, it was a huge movie.
Yes, true. Very true.
And was one that across the spectrum, I knew all different age groups and whatever that saw it. And that is super rare for a teen comedy to kind of transcend in that level. And it's always kind of just held that place. Maybe it doesn't hold up. I haven't seen it in a few years, but when I think back on it as fondly, and I like still a bunch of the jokes in my head when I conjure them. It's like that makes me laugh. The stuff between what you brought up before, Eugene Levy and Jason Biggs, it's so I could take another 20 minutes of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I think they use it kind of perfectly just to sprinkle him in, because it's not about him specifically or their relationship.
Yeah, well, that's why the second one kind of sucked when they went to the beach house. I didn't like that one at all. But the third one, when they come back for the wedding of Allison Hannigan, and that's another Allison. She went off on and did How I Met Your Mother. So her and him when they come, what was that?
And Buffy.
Yeah, she was in Buffy as well.
I never watched that, but.
Yeah, but bless you. When they got married, like the third one where they're getting married, it's incredibly sweet, and I love it. And I think it's good. You get more of Eugene Levy, more of the mom as well, and the situations they find themselves in. But it works for me a little bit better than that American Pie one does. But overall, still, it's a damn good series. Or you know, if you want to ever kind of discover, and I think it's got bones in the John Hughes '80s films as well. Like it can be an absolute cousin. To the John Hughes stuff.
And I think they could bring it back with like whatever American Divorce or something. And maybe him and Hannigan are having an amicable divorce. Like
it's certainly possible. Don't put it out of the realm of possibility, man. I'm sure somebody's written something like that.
Or we show up in their divorce and it's them rekindling their love, and you get to watch them fall back in. Then all the stupid Stifler still lives at home, and you just build around.
Stifler's mom has like a whole side business, as doing her thing. Yeah, on OnlyFans.com or something. All right. So, what's your number 2? Is there a number 2 now or no?
Yeah. My number 2 is a punt from earlier.
Okay.
So, on your number 2?
What?
Oh no, your number 2. Never mind. Doesn't
right.
Which is Kingpin.
Okay.
I thought it was good the first time I saw it,
dude. Yeah. Same.
And then from there. The more I see it, I'm like, man, this movie is so good. It just took time to kind of sink in a little bit.
It had to marinate, man. It had to marinate. It's one of those comedies that has to marinate. And you don't usually say that about a Farrelly Brothers film, but this one, absolutely.
Yeah. Coming out of the theater, I was like, wow, I loved Bill Murray. And then I thought Woody Harrelson was good and Randy Quaid was good. And what's her name? That was mainly a TV actress, as far as I can remember, was good.
Oh, yeah. Vanessa Angel. Yeah.
But then going back and rewatching and be like, wow, you really appreciate all the other performances and how they build. And then the, little unit that they make, the motley crew that goes on this, it's a road picture ultimately. Just watch it again. I appreciate it even more. And I laugh just as hard at all the jokes that I was already laughing at. And then go back and watch again. It just keeps building over and over. If we had done this like 10 years ago or something, maybe it's 9 on my list or 8 on my list type of thing. Who knows? And I just think with repeated viewings, a la a few others on this, it will hold up and still hold up. So, Kingpin is my number 2 now.
I think Kingpin is the greatest Adam Sandler movie ever made that he's not in. It has all the bones of an Adam Sandler movie, like the ridiculous situations they find themselves in, the creepy landlady who's constantly doing the in the mirror, the wooden hand of Woody, which has shades of the Billy Madison stuff, the weird Amish guy they pick up, like all of the bones of an Adam Sandler film are in this movie. Yet this film is way better than any Adam Sandler film, in my opinion, that you're ever going to see. And of those type of comedies, right? I don't mean Wedding Singer or Big Daddy, which are more serious comedies. This one is more just outlandish and weird, like Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore, that kind of vibe to them. And so That's what I like about the movie. It's surprisingly, deeper than you anticipate. And there's not a happy ending that you thought was coming, which I thought was brilliant. It absolutely zigs when you think it's going to zag in that ending. And you're like, holy shit, I watched this whole movie thinking, expecting, and it wasn't. And yet it still works. You don't leave the theater feeling dissatisfied.
Well, I think what differentiates it from the Sandler movies that would be close to this is Sandler, when he goes for the darker, gross out jokes, they're almost non sequiturs.
Yeah, right. They have no, it's not the flow of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's just like I can have the character do something zany here.
Yeah.
And then we can move right along and it doesn't really matter. Whereas within Kingpin, like when he drinks what he thinks is milk, it's because he's a fish out of water and he's trying to pass himself off and he's bullshitting. And he has he didn't even finish high school. He left to go be a professional bowler. And it's a guy that's been a drunk for the past 20 years. Like, so that to me is, it's not believable, but at least it's closer to the mark of absurd, gross out humor. Or when she talks about his landlord, like, oh, I got to go, use the bathroom. You really knock something loose. And you're like, but that's in the context of the story. It's moving it. It's painting the depressing nature of the life he created for himself, and it works.
Yeah, it totally works.
when Randy Quaid goes to get that cold bottle of beer.
Oh yeah. He's got the
nips, those silver dollar like nips, but he does it not for that joke. He does it because he is so nice and such a gentleman. He's like, no, you sit. I'm much closer. I'll happily go get it. And just with a smile on his face, goes over and gets it and comes around because that is the nature of that character.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So you're building in within a more real fabric as opposed to a lot of Sandler's jokes. Like going back and watching Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore, especially, it's like it's a lot of absurdist for the sake of absurdist at times.
Yeah, and that's what turns me off, dude. Like when it's absurdist for the just for the sake of being absurdist, I don't get it because anybody can do that. I can go to an improv stage and see that. It's not a big deal. If you make it flow with the organic nature of a movie, then I'm like, that's a skill. Yeah. That's a real skill. And
that's storytelling.
Yeah, that's storytelling. And it works in this because everything should be ridiculous, but it feels like when he's stripping and stuff, like you're just like, okay, man. I mean, I'm in. I'm all in with this nuttiness. So yeah.
Over and over and over again. And find out that his name is now a verb to indicate like screwing yourself and lampooning yourself. Like, you don't want to Munson. I've never heard that. Oh, that's a really common phrase. People use it so brutal. I just texted a friend of mine. I asked him a question because he's just dealing with some bullshit, and it's fine. It's not serious. It's just a lot. It's a big headache.
Right.
And it's a headache that will eventually go away. But I was like, hey, how's that thing going? He's like, dude, it's the worst. And I was like, oh, you just living the life, fucking gravy train with biscuit wheels over at your house, huh? I've used that since I saw the movie the first time. It's one of the Bill Murray lines that I've brought right before he gets Munson.
That's awesome, man.
Kingpin, just over the years, it just built and built and built. I think it's a gem.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you, bud. Absolutely. All right, so we move on. What? My number 2, is that right? Or my number 3? Yeah, my number 2. And look, it's probably not on your list, but it's City Slickers. That's my number 2.
It was a tough cut.
Okay. All right. I totally respect it. Yeah. Look, I'm Matt, I'm old. And so these things like I actually watched an hour of City Slickers. I think last Saturday. I was just doing some studying for the trivia match I've got coming up. And I was just kind of doing some stuff. And then I put it on because I was like, oh, this is something I can like just forget about and have on. And I found myself sucked back into the movie. And I really appreciate the message of the movie. That these 3 guys are going to try to kind of like do something because all 3 of them are lost in different ways in their lives, in their worlds. And the comedy that they encounter is actually really funny and the things they go through. And then there's that danger element throughout with Jack Palance and then those weird 2 cowboys that take over. Was that?
The 2 cowhands.
Yeah, the 2 cowhands. All of that is still, but the whole time, Billy's trying to make the jokes and be funny about it. But there's a sweetness throughout the whole movie as well, like when he delivers the calf and all this kind of stuff about finding your smile. All of it is there. So for me, it just has a special place in my heart, and it's one of the last times you get to enjoy Billy before Billy becomes cheesy Billy. and basically, in my opinion, ruins the rest of his career as an actor. And so it was fun to go back and see that. And Daniel Stern is really good in this. You get Helen Slater, you get the late great Bruno Kirby as well. So much of it works for. Is there Josh Mostel, David Paymer? You get a great combo of actors throughout that I enjoyed. Yeah,
I think the reason it did make my list is, to me, it's a lighthearted dramedy.
I can totally understand that. I can totally understand.
I looked at it and I was like, is it a straight comedy? Because I get sucked in. I love it. When he brings the cow home at the end.
Oh, yeah.
It works.
Yeah, totally works.
You're sitting and just like, hello, and just all the, it puts a smile on my face. It doesn't make me laugh. That's what that movie does. It makes me happy. Okay. And it puts a smile on my face. But it's fully deserving. It's one of, if it qualifies as a comedy, which it obviously does.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's listed comedy first.
It is.
Yeah. I just always thought of it as like it's a good lighthearted dramedy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a great moment, like, I'm sorry. I tweeted about this after I watched it. I said, like, Billy Crystal is a Yankees fan. And in the movie, when they ask him what his greatest day is, he said is walking into Yankee Stadium with my dad and watching Mickey Mantle hit one out. And I was like, why is he wearing a Mets hat if he's talking about the Yankees? So I tweeted this, and apparently someone tweeted me this, and I looked it up. Apparently he agreed to wear a Mets hat through the movie because a Mets fan donated such an incredible amount of money towards comic relief that was the thank you that Billy did for him. And it's an iconic hat to wear for his character in this movie. It's prominently featured throughout the whole movie, and it works.
I'm a devoted Yankees fan.
Right. And also, I don't think it would have worked if he wore a Yankees hat. I think, Yankees people naturally think, the evil empire and got all this money, and they're always, but the Mets are underdogs, and him throughout the movie is an underdog trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life, a little bit lost. And so it works on that level as well. So, okay. So your number one is what it is?
South Park? Was South Park. And then what's your number one?
The Nutty Professor.
Yeah, I've never.
Wow. What? Really?
I like parts of it, and then the rest I could just leave. I don't dislike those parts. I just fast forward mentally to the next part that I like. And for that reason, I don't do that with any of the others. I will still sit through the story in between, whereas the heart that they're trying to build, it works for me and it doesn't.
Okay. All right. Well, as Matt said earlier in the show, I'm a crazy Eddie Murphy fan, and as Matt is too. Matt's a big Eddie Murphy fan too. This one just, for so many reasons, works for me. I mean, first of all, I love the original, the Jerry Lewis one. I love that film as well. But so the update, I would really have my arms folded, like, oh, what are you going to do? Even though I know Eddie's very funny, what are you going to do to compare what Jerry Lewis did? And he does do an incredible job with this film and creating all those, so much so that people, when he created those characters, Matt, people were saying that he should have been nominated for a Best Actor award. Right?
The round table around the dinner table is the best. My favorite parts. That's what I look for. I still to this day do Hercules. I still do that from that movie. But he is pulling off all these separate performances. As hyperbolic as each character may need to be, but they have to, because they need to be a pop of color. They're only used ever, just in these very specific places.
Right.
That to me was stellar. Stellar. So when you see something like Norbert coming out, you're like, maybe you could do this, because we've seen him now between this movie and Coming to America. He can do multiple characters.
Yeah. And then you're like, oof, he went a little too far, Norbit. A little too far. But I still think, but there are funny moments in Norbit. He just went a little too far. But with this one, I mean, I think it's, once again, an idea, this sweet story. I'm a guy who struggled with my weight my entire life. I still think I'm the fattest kid in the room. Whenever I'm in any room, it's something I've always dealt with. So the connection to him in his journey through the movie has a special place for me. It works for me in a special way. And when he's when he's having that nightmare of eating all that ice cream and he's too big for that, like, I've had those feelings, and so I've had those moments. And so for me, it works like that and connecting with him. And then you have that thing, oh, if I lose all this weight, look at what could happen to my life. But then you're like, he goes so far the other way that he doesn't understand that it's actually even more detrimental to be able to do that or to do that to yourself. And so all of that are just great kind of underlying lessons happening throughout the movie. Oh, and also there are some very funny sequences, very funny. The stuff with Chappelle is genius. Like you said, the stuff around the dinner table is just, I mean, when he's the grandma going, come on, Cletus, come on, Cletus. Just, I lose it every single time. But then also the sweet part, like when he's walking after Jada Pinkett Smith, after he's been embarrassed by Chappelle when he's heavier Sherman, and he starts to walk out into the rain after she's kind of said goodnight. And, you know, they both understand that it's been an embarrassing evening for him. Instead of holding the paper over his head, I loved this moment from behind. He takes the paper down because what does it matter if it rains on him? Because that's how little he thinks of himself. And it's those little moments that make it a brilliant comedy or intelligent comedy. And they get it and all the way to the end. Plus, I love Larry Miller. Larry Miller is like a great asshole in any movie he's in.
Maybe I need to watch it again.
Okay. All right.
You know, I'm not against it. I remember I've seen it a handful of times, and the love stories is nice, but it doesn't suck me in fully. But you're right. That scene where he's just finally given up, and he's so, of course it's going to rain on me. We've all been there where you're like, you know what? This is the shittiest day. Did I tell you that? So I've only had one really bad day during COVID.
Okay.
It's just been cooped up at home, even if I'm doing stuff around the house. I'm so sick and tired of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a long day, and I had to run a couple errands, and they were super frustrating. And I got back, and I got to the top, and my dog freaks out when Catherine freaks out. She can be gone for 10 minutes. She can be gone for 8 hours. She freaks out. Like her tail, she's just shaking so much. And I was gone for like 4 hours, and I came home, and she just lifted her head, and her tail just went up. And that's about, it's what I get about 50% of the time. Like, oh, you're home.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Because she was saved from a Chinese meat market. In my head, I was just like, you would have been someone's poop by now. And you can't give me an ounce. Like, it was just so, of course, it's the rain cloud. And I was like, of course, you little shit. And she just laid her head back down. I was like, it's one of those days. Fuck it. I got in my car that night and drove around for like 3 hours. I was just like, I need to get out of the house. Yeah, I drove all over Pasadena and Burbank, like up through the hills, and just drove around houses, and then went east over, north of the 210, and just was driving through those hills and
just clearing your head.
Yeah, just I need to see something new. I need a new stimulus. I need something. It was like 2 months in. It's like I can't fucking stare at my walls for another day in a row.
I totally get it, man. When we first started, when this whole quarantine first started, dude, I went out in my car an hour almost every day except on the weekends because Lily and I would just hang out. But I would go out because she was still working. So I would just go out and just drive around, man, just to fucking break the monotony up a little bit, but I still had those days like you're talking about, like that occasional day where you're just like, everything fucking sucks. I just want to be alone or whatever and kind of do my own thing.
Something new. It has been the mundanity of the same. And look, and we have it good. We're not sick.
Oh no, absolutely.
Everything else is fine. It's just the mental aspect of it. That day caught it. Thankfully, it hasn't since. It's only been, fingers crossed, one day thus far.
Right. Good.
Try and stay occupied and do other shit.
I get it. Totally get it, man.
Oh yeah, maybe I need to see Nutty Professor again.
If you feel like it.
Perhaps I will.
All right. Well, there's our separate top 10 90s summer comedies list. And of course, as we do on the top 10 show, now we're going to argue about putting it together and putting the rankings down. And I'm sure Matt has the coin ready to go. Although some people have argued that we shouldn't use the coin. They're like, you guys should just argue it out. And I'm like, you don't understand. It would just be a 2-hour, 3-hour argument.
By some people, that's a very Trumpian statement in that you have no evidence to back it up. And you're like, I hear a lot of people are talking about this. You're like, who? Cite me one example and then I'll believe it.
Sure. Because what I do is just lie. That's just standard me.
No, I'm not saying it's standard you.
It sounds like you are.
In this instance, it seems you have no proof. You have no examples. You're just saying a lot of people are saying
I have no proof.
You have no proof. Show me proof.
I could bring it up proof. I know there's a tweet. Hold on. Let me find a comment. You want me to find a comment? I can find a comment.
Go ahead. Huh?
All right,
you want a toe? I'll get you
a
fucking
pal.
toe.
Hold on a second, pal.
I'll get you a fucking toe. What do you want a toe by?
You want a green toe?
You want a fucking toe?
You want a toe?
I would assume South Park is 1.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then, wow, I think our next highest might be Kingpin at 2. What? Where'd you have it?
What did I have it? Hold on. Kingpin was at 2. Was at 4 for me.
Okay, so I would say Kingpin next.
Here it is. Ovidius 1979. One day ago on our most recent episode. First comment. I would really like it if you guys didn't go to the coin before trying to fight it out. Your quote fights are really entertaining, and that got 5 likes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
any more evidence?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were inferring that the coin was weighted. You were going to go down that route. So you were
Oh,
bringing up-
no. I think I never even mentioned weighted.
Yeah, sometimes the fight, but it's just like, dude, this show would take
The show would take forever.
so long sometimes. Then we both have, I moved Bowfinger onto my list at 6. That's your what?
Both finger is my number 5.
All right, so I would say Bowfinger next.
Okay.
All right, what's your next highest at that point?
Number 2, City Slickers.
City Slickers is next highest.
So we have Nutty. Oh, sorry, no. Nutty Professor is my number 1, so that would go above City Slickers. I apologize, Matt. I thought we'd put that on there. So yeah, I have Nutty Professor at 1 and City Slickers at 2. Those are my 1-2s.
Okay. City Slickers next. All right, I have my number 3 and my number 4.
Okay, go ahead, man. We already did my 3 and 4.
Okay, so it's American Pie and My Blue Heaven.
Okay. Wow, Blue Heaven snuck on this list. I'll be damned.
Of course it did. Of course it did. Both have, there's something about Mary, but we both have it now at 10. I'm happy with keeping it at 10.
Yeah, what are we at now right now? What number are we at right now?
We got 8, 9, and 10 left. We both have The Mask, right?
Yeah, I don't mind keeping something on Mary at 10. Yeah, and the Mask is on there for both of us.
Right. Mask would go next. So
Okay.
number 9, what's your next highest left?
So Nutty Professor's on this. City Slicker, South Park, Kingpin, Bowfinger, The Mask. So Clueless at number 7 is my next one. What's your next one?
All right, baby. Men at Work.
Oh,
Higher
no.
than that.
That's
Men at Work,
ridiculous.
then there's something about Mary.
Oh, my God. That's ridiculous. All right. I got to start, rigging the list like you do and put my personal favorites away at the top.
That's not jerry rigging. That's just how you choose to make your list.
Gerrymandering. All right. Anyway, let's do this. The top 10 summer comedies of the 1990s. Yeah. At number 10.
There's something about Mary.
At number 9.
Men at Work.
At number 8.
The Mask.
At number 7.
My Blue Heaven.
At number 6.
American Pie.
At number 5.
City Slickers.
At number 4.
The Nutty Professor.
At number 3.
Bowfinger.
At number 2.
Kingpin.
And our number 1 1990s summer comedy is
South Park. Bigger, longer, and uncut.
It's Uncut, Satan.
And I love that they got a dick joke into the title and that went past the censors.
That's right past the censors.
It's fantastic. Good for you guys that no one noticed.
That's when you're a brilliantly funny person, you know how to play the system or game the system. All right, that's our episode for today, Matt. What do we got to tell them?
We hope you enjoy the Golden Ticket on Monday. It'll be coming out on Monday, so tune into that. And we have Topic Thunder coming out on Thursdays like we do every week. So we hope you guys enjoy all this content. And I'd like to say from earlier, I may have written the lyrics, but I'm like Bernie Taupin to his Elton John. He brought it to life. Andy made that thing what it is. I am just, I just helped type of thing.
All right. That's enough of the humility. Take the
Well,
compliment. I said you deserve kudos.
Without all his artistic and musical ability, this thing would have been nothing, and we would be using some free piece of music. So
some generic stuff.
Praise should really be lofted in his direction. That's all I wanted to say. I felt bad about it earlier. I was like, he did all the hard work.
All right. He did a great job.
He did a fantastic job. And to everybody that's helped us, thank you so much.
Yes,
and
thank you so much.
You can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost. Check me out there. I got new stuff coming out, so follow me at Matt Nost. You can hear all about that. And that's it for me this week, man.
There you go. You can follow me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Maybe you're listening to us in podcast format. You want to watch our faces do the show. We know a lot of you re-listen to the shows multiple times or re-listen to the episodes. Maybe you want to watch us do the show as well. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there on, I think it's YouTube podcast. I think it's youtube.com/the top 10 podcast. Go and find it. Is that right, Matt? Yeah.
The number 10.
Okay, with the number 10 there, go find it there. If you want to become a patron of the show, we're always looking for patrons of the show. Please go up there above my head, www.patreon.com/the top 10. Go and see the multiple tiers. And if you enjoy the golden ticket, the next time we do it, which is a few months away, you'll already be in the rotation for it if you become a patron now to be considered for it and to be a part of it as well. Do that too. And please, if you don't mind, go over to my YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/John Roca Says. Go and see all the multiple shows. Just announced a new Star Wars show that I'm doing with the great Laura Kelly there, The Jedi Way. And then I got a new show coming out with Dorina Arellano, a politics show as well. So get involved there as well. All right, that's it. Matt Nost, John Roca. We'll talk to you next time on the Top 10 Show.